In the heart of the Ottoman Empire, where gold-leafed ceilings shimmered above silk-veiled corridors and the Bosphorus whispered secrets to the moon, power did not always sit upon the Sultan's throne. Sometimes it walked quietly behind it. Sometimes it wore perfume and silk instead of armor. Sometimes it bore the name Pertevniyal Sultan, a woman born in obscurity who rose to command palaces, crown princes, and the very fate of an empire trembling between tradition and modernity. She was not merely a mother. She was not merely a consort. She was a force tender as spring roses and unyielding as a drawn sword. This is the story of the Valide Sultan who shaped a ruler, steered a dynasty, funded monuments that still stand today, and ruled from the shadows during one of the most fragile hours of Ottoman history. Pertevniyal Sultan's early life remains cloaked in imperial ambiguity, as if history itself bowed before her origins. Most historians agree she was of Circassian or Georgian descent, born around 1812. Far from the splendor she would one day command. Like many girls chosen for the Imperial Harem, she was brought into the Ottoman court as a concubine. But unlike most, she did not vanish into the background of forgotten imperial women. She rose. Her intelligence, discipline, and refined demeanor caught the attention of Sultan Mahmud II, one of the most revolutionary rulers of the Ottoman era. She became his favored consort, and in 1830, she gave birth to a son who would change her destiny forever. Sultan Abdülaziz. From that moment, she was no longer merely Pertevniyal. She was the mother of a future sultan, and in the Ottoman world, no role carried more invisible power than that. When Sultan Abdülaziz ascended the throne in 1861, Pertevniyal Sultan became Valide Sultan, the most powerful woman in the empire. The title was not ceremonial. It was political, strategic, imperial. She led the Imperial Harem. She advised the Sultan. She influenced policy appointments and palace decisions. She controlled budgets and patronage. Her political stance was conservative, deeply rooted in Ottoman tradition and Islamic values. She distrusted many of the Tanzimat reformists and European-style modernization, fearing that the soul of the empire was being traded for Western imitation. Yet she was not an enemy of progress. She simply believed progress must wear Ottoman skin. Pertevniyal adored her son with ferocity. She saw him not only as the ruler of nations, but as the fragile child she had nurtured through palace storms. Abdülaziz, unlike some of his predecessors, listened to his mother. He consulted her. He respected her authority. He relied on her judgment. Foreign ambassadors recognized her influence immediately. In palace correspondence, she was sometimes referred to as the true power of the inner court, a woman whose words could open doors or seal destinies. Yet her protectiveness also created enemies. Reformist statesmen viewed her as an obstacle to modernization. They whispered that she was too powerful, too stubborn, too present in affairs that belonged to men. But no one dared challenge her openly, not while her son ruled. Her legacy was not only political, it was architectural, spiritual, and eternal. Her most famous monument, the Pertevniyal Valide Sultan Mosque, completed in 1871 in Aksaray, Istanbul, stands as a unique fusion of Ottoman, Gothic, and Indian architectural styles, a testament to an empire balancing between East and West. This was not merely a religious structure. It was a declaration of presence, a carved proclamation that she had existed, and that her power had reshaped the skyline. She funded schools, fountains, charity kitchens, public works, religious institutions. For Pertevniyal, charity was not weakness, it was legacy. Then came 1876, the year of betrayal, chaos, and sorrow. The empire convulsed under financial strain, political unrest, and military defeats. Reformists orchestrated a coup and deposed Sultan Abdülaziz in favor of Murad V. Pertevniyal Sultan's world collapsed in a single day. Her son, the ruler of lands stretching from Anatolia to North Africa, was imprisoned in Kragan Palace. Days later, he was found dead, his wrists slit. Official reports declared suicide. Few believed it. Pertevniyal never accepted that her son had taken his own life. In her eyes, he had been murdered by conspirators who feared his strength. The palace mother, who once commanded silk seas and whispered counsel into imperial ears, now walked corridors of grief. Her son was gone, her power stripped away, her heart broken beyond healing. Under Sultan Abdülhamid II, Pertevniyal Sultan lived quietly, her influence reduced but her dignity intact. She spent her remaining years in religious devotion, charity, and mourning. Her once commanding voice soft, her fierce gaze dulled by sorrow. But she never lost her regal presence. She was still valid in spirit, a mother who had outlived her crown. On January 26, 1884, Pertevniyal Sultan died at the age of 72. She was laid to rest near the very mosque she had constructed, her stone legacy rising above the city like a silent prayer. Pertevniyal Sultan lived at the crossroads of transformation, a witness to a world shifting relentlessly from classical empire to uncertain modernity. She was a conservative guardian of tradition, a strategist within palace walls, a mother whose love shaped a ruler, a patroness of architecture and faith, a symbol of female power in a world ruled by men. She did not wear a crown. She did not sit upon the throne. Yet few women influenced the Ottoman Empire more profoundly. Her life was not one of battlefield glory, but of whispered decisions that moved armies and treasuries alike. In the echoing halls of Istanbul, when the evening prayer floats across Aksaray and shadows curl along marble domes, there are those who believe Pertevniyal Sultan still walks silently through her mosque, not as a ghost of grief, but as a guardian of memory, a woman who dared to rise from the silence of the harem and shape the destiny of emperors, whose life reminds us that power does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers, and empires listen.